Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today, we are continuing our ongoing coverage of the war between the Russian Federation and Ukraine. So I have additional intel coming in about the ongoing battle for Avdiivka. A couple of things that are going on. As we know, there continues to be fighting on the outskirts and inside the coke plant to the north by northwest of the actual town of Avdiivka. But our understanding is Russian forces have essentially crossed the main railway line into Avdiivka. They have seized control of this town here, Stepova, and are actively continuing attacks in the direction both west and then south of Stepova as we speak. Additionally, we are gaining information about new Russian military equipment that is being used in the theater of operations. So as we know, there are a variety of Lancet and variations of the Lancet kamikaze drone being used by the Russians. From the early stages of its deployment to where we're kind of sitting now, most of those Lancet attacks were done at daytime, during the day. Because, again, the Lancet did not have a thermal imaging optic that could guide it where the operator guiding the Lancet could see targets at night. It was only a daytime camera. We understand now that the Russians are starting to produce a nighttime variant of the Lancet that has a thermal imaging camera inside of it. And that system is now being used to attack Ukrainian targets at night. There are also other drone systems. I believe it is called a Scalpel, and even systems that we are not privy to that the Russians are currently using. And again, as I've talked about several times, the Russian military-industrial complex is expanding, and we're seeing more and more of the use of these drones. Not just Lancets, but variations of Lancets and other systems as well of a fairly highly classified nature that the Russians are using in this conflict. So in terms of Avdiivka, again, the noose continues to tighten. There was an attack by the Ukrainians that took place in the Kherson area of operations. We observed video evidence of a Ukrainian HIMARS strike against a Russian convoy. It was not an armored convoy. It was made up solely of trucks and supply vehicles. It does appear that it was an effective strike, damaging quite a few vehicles and killing or injuring a number of Russian troops in that area. That attack was designed to support ongoing Ukrainian operations on the eastern bank of the Dnieper River. Again, Ukrainian strength that has crossed the Dnieper River amounts to about 1 battalion. This is not an operation designed to expand control on the eastern bank of the Dnieper River. We're not seeing that. But the Ukrainians are continuing to use those HIMARS incredibly effectively. Well, let me back up a little bit. We believe that the HIMARS are quite possibly directly under the control of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization or the United States. We believe that any attack that is conducted via HIMARS strike is done so with the approval of either the U.S. or NATO, most likely the United States. The HIMARS system, and I've talked about this before, is actively tracked and monitored real time by the United States. The United States can see every single HIMARS unit in Ukraine, and it knows its location. Furthermore, the data, the information that the Ukrainians are using to strike Russian targets is coming from U.S. resources. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, based on what we are seeing and how effective these strikes are, this is probably the most, I would say, overt use of U.S. military assets in this ongoing conflict. Again, the HIMARS is an incredibly advanced system, very advanced system, and proven to be a very effective system in this modern era of war we are in which the side that has the ability to sense and then shoot first is inherently going to win the war. Now, one other side note that we wanted to talk about is the use of electronic warfare and electronic jamming capabilities. We are seeing both sides starting to develop and enhance the ability to shut down some of these drones, both with the Russians and both with the Ukrainians. We are seeing, if you have the opportunity to watch some of these first-person drone strikes, these little quadcopters that have munitions attached to them and they're used as kamikaze drones, we're starting to see those systems get jammed and blank out in some of the final stages of their attack, meaning it appears that many of these systems, these jamming systems, are now being put on actual armored fighting vehicles and tanks and what have you to try and prevent these quadcopter, these kamikaze drones that are really purchased off the civilian market, modified, and then thrown into the fray. I don't think a lot of people at the onset of the conflict even conceptualized that these civilian drones would be converted for military use and be used as effective as we have seen them be used by both sides now. So I think both sides are trying to adapt to this new threat to the battlefield, or this newer threat that has been active for quite some time now. And eventually I would suspect that at least the civilian-grade drones are going to have difficulty operating over the battlefield at a certain point once they're able to negate that data link and eliminate the user from controlling the drone. So that's where we are. We're continuing to watch things very, very closely. Obviously, this was not updated. This map was not updated in terms of the Russian breakthrough near Stepova, but we will continue to monitor and report and watch things very, very closely as very heavy fighting continues. Thanks for joining us today. More to come very, very soon. As always, have a good day.